The morning sun filtered through the lace curtains of Rosewood Café, casting delicate patterns across the worn wooden floors. Elena Martinez stood behind the counter, her hands trembling slightly as she poured coffee for the early morning regulars. The café, nestled in the heart of Riverside County, had been her sanctuary for 3 years. A place where she'd rebuilt herself after her world had crumbled, but now even this refuge was slipping through her fingers. Another notice from the bank? Mrs. Chen, her most loyal customer, asked gently, nodding toward the envelope Elena had tucked beneath the register. Elena forced a smile. Nothing I can't handle. It was a lie, and they both knew it. The cafe was drowning in debt, and Elena was running out of options. The building needed repairs she couldn't afford, suppliers were demanding payment, and her savings had evaporated months ago. Every night, she lay awake calculating numbers that never added up, watching her dream dissolve like sugar in hot coffee. Have you ever felt like everything you've worked for is slipping away? Share your story in the comments below. The bell above the door chimed, and Elena looked up to see a man she'd never forget, though she desperately wished she could. Marcus Donovan. He stood in the doorway, tall and commanding in an expensive charcoal suit that seemed out of place in her humble cafe. His dark eyes found hers immediately, and Elena felt her breath catch. 5 years had passed since she'd last seen him, since the night he'd walked away without explanation, leaving her heart in pieces. "Elena," he said, his voice deeper than she remembered. She gripped the counter's edge. "What are you doing here? I heard you were in trouble." He stepped closer, and she caught the familiar scent of his cologne, cedar and something uniquely him. "I want to help. I don't need your help." The words came out sharper than intended, but the wound he'd left still ached. Marcus's jaw tightened. "The bank is foreclosing in 30 days. You're 3 months behind on rent, your equipment is failing, and you've maxed out your credit cards trying to keep this place afloat." He paused. "You need help, Elena, whether you want to admit it or not." Anger flared in her chest. "You have no right to investigate my life. I have every right to care about you. You lost that right when you disappeared without a word." Her voice cracked, and she hated herself for it. "You left me, Marcus. You don't get to walk back in and play hero now." The cafe had gone silent. Mrs. Chen and the other customers pretended not to listen, but Elena could feel their attention. She took a deep breath, steadying herself. "Please leave," she said quietly. Marcus studied her for a long moment, something unreadable flickering in his eyes. Then he reached into his jacket and pulled out a business card, placing it on the counter. "When you're ready to talk, call me. I'm staying at the Riverside Inn." He turned to leave, then paused. "I never stopped thinking about you, Elena, not for a single day." Then he was gone, leaving Elena staring at the card as if it might explode. What would you do in Elena's situation? Would you accept help from someone who hurt you? Let us know your thoughts. That night, Elena sat in her tiny apartment above the cafe, surrounded by bills and bank statements. The numbers blurred together as tears finally came. Tears she'd held back for months, maybe years. She'd been so strong, so determined to prove she could make it on her own, but pride couldn't pay the bills, and stubbornness wouldn't save her cafe. She picked up Marcus's card, her thumb tracing the embossed letters. Marcus Donovan, CEO, Donovan Enterprises. He'd done well for himself. She'd heard rumors over the years, how he'd built a real estate empire, how he'd become one of the most successful developers in the state. Meanwhile, she'd been struggling to keep a small cafe alive. The contrast stung. But what stung more was the memory of his words. "I never stopped thinking about you." If that were true, why had he left? Why had he vanished from her life without explanation, without giving her a chance to understand? Elena's phone buzzed. Another text from her supplier, threatening to cut her off if she didn't pay by Friday. She had 4 days and no money. With shaking hands, she dialed the number on Marcus's card. He answered on the first ring. "Elena, I need to know why you left," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "If you want to help me, I need to understand what happened 5 years ago." Silence stretched between them, heavy with unspoken pain. "Meet me tomorrow," Marcus finally said. "Riverside Park, noon. I'll tell you everything." Sometimes the hardest conversations lead to the greatest healing. Have you ever had to confront your past? Share your experience below. The park was beautiful in autumn, with leaves painting the ground in shades of gold and crimson. Elena found Marcus sitting on their bench, the same one where they'd spent countless evenings years ago, dreaming about the future. He stood when he saw her, and for a moment they simply looked at each other. "Thank you for coming," he said. Elena sat down, maintaining careful distance between them. "I'm listening." Marcus ran a hand through his hair, a gesture she remembered from when he was nervous. 5 years ago, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor. Elena's world tilted. "What?" "It was aggressive. The doctors gave me a 30% chance of survival." His voice was steady, but she could hear the echo of old fear beneath it. "I had to undergo immediate surgery, followed by months of treatment. The prognosis was grim." "Why didn't you tell me?" Elena's voice broke. "I would have been there for you." "That's exactly why I didn't tell you." Marcus turned to face her fully. "You just lost your mother to cancer. You were barely holding yourself together. I couldn't ask you to watch me die, too." Tears streamed down Elena's face. "That wasn't your choice to make." "I know." His own eyes glistened. "I thought I was protecting you, but I was a coward. I was terrified of dying, of putting you through that pain, of being weak in front of you. So I ran. I told myself it was noble, that I was sparing you. But really, I was just scared." Elena's hands clenched in her lap. 5 years of anger, of hurt, of wondering what she'd done wrong, and it had never been about her at all. "You should have trusted me," she whispered. "I know. I'm sorry, Elena. I'm so sorry." Marcus reached out, then hesitated, his hand hovering between them. "I survived. Against the odds, I survived. And I built my company, made my fortune, achieved everything I'd ever wanted. But none of it mattered, because you weren't there to share it with me. You could have come back. I tried. A year ago, I came to the cafe. I saw you through the window, laughing with a customer, and you looked so happy. I thought maybe you'd moved on, found someone better. Someone who wouldn't abandon you." He smiled sadly. "I convinced myself you were better off without me." Elena shook her head, fresh tears falling. "I wasn't happy. I was surviving. There's a difference." They sat in silence, the weight of lost years heavy between them. "I want to help you save the cafe," Marcus said finally. "Not because I'm trying to buy your forgiveness, but because I believe in you. I always have. Let me invest in your dream, Elena. Let me be the partner I should have been 5 years ago." Second chances don't come often. When they do, will you be brave enough to take them? Tell us about your second chance story. Elena wanted to say yes. Every practical part of her screamed to accept his offer. But her heart was still raw, still bleeding from wounds she thought had healed. "I need time," she said. Marcus nodded. "Take all the time you need. But Elena?" He finally took her hand, and the touch sent electricity through her. "I'm not leaving again. Whatever you decide about the cafe, about us, I'm staying. I'm going to prove to you that I'm worth a second chance." Over the next 2 weeks, Marcus became a fixture at Rosewood Café. He didn't push, didn't demand answers. He simply showed up every morning, ordered coffee, and worked quietly at a corner table. Sometimes they talked. Small conversations about the weather, the cafe, safe topics that didn't venture too close to their complicated history. But Elena noticed everything. The way he helped Miss Noct, Chen, with her coat, how he fixed the wobbly table by the window without being asked. The morning he arrived before opening, to find him replacing the broken light fixture she'd been meaning to fix for months. "You don't have to do this," she said, watching him work. "I want to." He climbed down from the ladder. "Besides, I'm investing in the property. Just protecting my interests." Elena's heart skipped. "What?" Marcus pulled out a folder. "I bought your building from the landlord. Paid off your back rent and the foreclosure. The cafe is safe, Elena." She stared at him, unable to process his words. "You? What? Why?" "Because I love you." The words hung in the air between them, simple and devastating. "I've loved you since the day we met, and I never stopped. Not when I left, not during the treatment, not in all the years since. I love you, Elena Martinez, and I'm done being afraid." Elena's vision blurred with tears. "Marcus, you don't have to say anything. You don't owe me anything. The building is yours. I'll sign it over to you. No strings attached. But I needed you to know the truth." He stepped closer. "I'm not the same man who ran away 5 years ago. I've learned that life is too short and too precious to waste on fear. I want to spend whatever time I have left making you happy, if you'll let me. Love isn't about grand gestures, it's about showing up, day after day, even when it's hard. What does love mean to you? Elena looked at this man who'd broken her heart and was now offering to mend it. She thought about the years of pain, but also about the boy who'd made her laugh until she cried, who'd believed in her dreams when no one else did. She thought about second chances and forgiveness, about the courage it takes to trust again. "I'm scared," she admitted. "So am I." Marcus took her hands. "But I'd rather be scared with you than safe without you." Elena took a shaky breath. "If we do this, we do it right. No more running, no more secrets. We face everything together." "Everything," Marcus agreed. "And you're not buying my building. We'll be partners, equal partners. You invest, I run the cafe, we share the profits and the risks." A smile broke across his face. "Deal." "And Marcus?" Elena stepped closer, her heart pounding. "I love you too. I never stopped either." When he kissed her, it felt like coming home after a long, painful journey. It felt like forgiveness and hope and new beginnings all wrapped into one perfect moment. Every ending is a new beginning. What new chapter are you ready to write in your life? 6 months later, Rosewood Café had been transformed. With Marcus's investment and Elena's vision, they'd renovated the space, updated the equipment, and expanded the menu. But more importantly, they'd built something together, a partnership based on trust, honesty, and love. Elena stood in the cafe early one morning, watching the sunrise paint the sky in shades of pink and gold. Marcus came up behind her, wrapping his arms around her waist. "Happy?" he asked. She leaned back against him. "Very. I have something for you." He pulled a small velvet box from his pocket. Elena's breath caught as he opened it, revealing a simple gold band with a single lavender sapphire, her favorite color. "5 years ago, I ran because I was afraid," Marcus said softly. "Today, I'm asking you to run toward something with me, toward a future, a life, a family. Elena Martinez, will you marry me?" Through tears of joy, Elena whispered, "Yes." As he slipped the ring on her finger, Elena realized that sometimes the greatest love stories aren't about perfect timing or easy paths. They're about two imperfect people who choose each other, again and again, through fear and pain and uncertainty. They're about coming home. Your story isn't over. It's just beginning. What dreams are you ready to chase? Share your journey with us, and let's inspire each other to live boldly and love fearlessly. Thank you for reading. If this story touched your heart, please share it with someone who needs to hear about second chances and the courage to love again. What part of Elena and Marcus's journey resonated most with you? Leave a comment below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Ready for more inspiring stories? Subscribe to for daily tales of love, courage, and transformation. Your next favorite story is just a click away.